Welcome to the podcast where we take a deep dive into the stories behind construction business leaders. We will share how they got started, how they found success, and the lessons learned along the way. I'm your host, Eric Fortenberry. Welcome to Builder Stories. Welcome back, everybody. Today I am really excited. I have got an awesome rock star here with us, Ervin Ballabani from Moderno. He is located in Toronto, Canada, and this guy is on top of it. Ervin, you're going to have to tell us all the companies and everything that you've got going, because you got a lot of different things going. Really excited to have you on. It's been awesome to see, how you've been able to really embrace JobTread and how you're just building, so many successful businesses here. So, why don't you kind of give us your background and tell us how you got into construction and a little bit more about the work you do.
Eric, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share my experiences with you and your audience. And I'm more than happy to show everybody, my challenges, how we made it so far, and how JobTread has really helped us be better and better and better at what we do. And not just with one company, but across multiple companies that I manage and own. And I'm more than happy to say that, 5 years ago, it was around 2019 when I decided to get into restoration. I was a property manager for about 8 years, condominium property manager. And then one day I said, you know what, the amount of stress I'm going through and so on, I might as well just do what I was seeing other guys doing and make it a little bit more money. That was kind of enticing, right? I said, let me give it a shot and do it. So I bought the equipment, I got some people, I got the vehicles, and then guess what? Everybody that told me was going to help me, and this is a true story, everybody, all the people that I really counted on before I quit my job and said, you know what? And I reached out to them. I said, listen, you're going to help me? Yeah, sure, we'll help you. Except for one that really tried to give me some work at the time. Nobody else did. And I'm like, maybe I did the wrong thing. Yeah. And guess what? A few months after, we find out there's this thing called COVID, and now you're staying home, and everybody else is staying home, and you're paying for the trucks, and you're paying for everything else, and you're going, what did I just do? And then every day you're telling yourself, like, how am I going to make this work, right? And then there was a moment when every day I was waking up and I'm like, can I just keep on going one more day? So I was telling the guys, okay, guys, we're going to stay home one more. Don't worry, you're getting paid one more day. And I did not believe it that during COVID, we made more money than I could ever dream of. Because apparently what happened was everybody working from home because we service condominiums, we service high-rise buildings. The buildings apparently are not made for everybody to stay home at the same time. The buildings are made for people to come in, sleep, and go out, and so on, but not for everybody to be using the toilets at the same time and all the facilities at the same time. So that caused a lot of floods, a lot of backups, a lot of things that we normally specialize in. And from a moment of despair, we went to a moment where we couldn't get enough people to service these clients. And we made over $1 million that year. So it was such really I don't know how to call it, but a big change. And then from managing things with QuickBoost, you go, oh, I did the software. And I started with the really, minimal, you pay, $30 a month software out there. There's lots of them for the handyman, for the little guy. And I started using it, and we kept growing, and I go, nah, it doesn't have all the features. And then I changed, and then I changed again, and then I went to, what do you call those? The ERP systems, right?
Yeah.
Where it was so overwhelming that after 6 months, I go, no, it's just my guys don't understand this, like my office, they're not meant for this. And then we finally came to JobTread, which changed everything for us. But it's been a long journey. We've been around for 5 years now, and things are steady, things are, working out. But I just did not give up. I kept going one more day, just one more day, and then until something happened.
Those first months, even the first year, I mean, it's always the hardest to start a new business from scratch. And, that's why, the majority of new businesses fail, is because they can't ever get it off the ground. And, I think that just like what you're saying, I mean, it can be, you reach these points of like questioning, wait, did I make the right decision? I just walked away from, a job that, paid me a steady income to risk it all. And, it is challenging. And, I think that, as you can see, I mean, again, we got, I think everybody in the construction space got kind of pleasantly surprised with, the influx of demand that came from COVID, because everybody was staying home, and it became an opportunity that, I think it really decimated a lot of industries and a lot of different, types of jobs and people out there. But, for construction, I mean, it sounds like you were, you just kind of timed it right, and, you held the line and you stayed true to the course, and it ended up panning out for you.
It did. And a lot of industries, like you're right, 100%, they've changed since COVID. Like, things are being done differently. And if it wasn't for the online tools that we have now, and for the changes that occurred, in the way things are done, we wouldn't be able to do some of the things that we do now. That time really served us well, because I used that time to figure out, okay, so this is what we're dealing with. Now, how do I get the best tools to deal with the situation? Because everybody's stuck in the situation. I got my competitors. What are they doing differently, right, than me? How can I be better than them? So that's the thing that you're always, thinking about, and thinking in your mind is, okay, they're using this system, or they're using that kind of methodology. Can I do something different? So I can check the jobs, on the go. Like, how can I make sure that while I'm at home, I can see what's happening at the job site? How can I see the pictures? How can I make sure that they're putting things in the right folders? And if you really look and explore, you'll find the right technology, you'll find the right things. And I also want to say thank you for, I've seen you and a lot of tech companies, some went up, some went down, right? Because it fundamentally changed the way they did things. I mean, look at Zoom, from nothing to, they took over the world, right? Yeah. And there's other companies that almost went bankrupt overnight. But in your case, JobTread, it's really served us great. Like, I thank you for what you did, because it has every single component that all the other individual softwares didn't have for me. Yeah. Right? So sometimes you're like, okay, maybe you're paying a little bit more, maybe you're paying a little bit less, but what are you getting in return, right? So you always have to be searching. You always have to be searching what's out there.
Well, I'm glad you finally found your forever home here with us. It's awesome to see how you've been able to implement it. I'm curious. Tell us a little bit about so Moderno is the kind of the main company, the parent company, if you will. But what are some of the other businesses that you've started up, and what do they do?
So after Moderno took off, and because our clientele is such a kind of a niche clientele, we service what I know best, or what I did for about 8 years, which is condominium corporations, in Toronto and the GTA area. Then I realized that, hey, when I'm going to do the service calls, or when we're trying to do this cleanups or these projects, people are always asking us, can you take care of this? Can you take care of that? And then we started slowly thinking, okay, why not, right? So if somebody trusts you with something, they will trust you with another service if you're willing to offer that service. So then we started a cleaning company, HVAC and plumbing company, and a security and surveillance company, but again, tailored to the same clients. So the security and surveillance company offer services like, camera installation, DVR replacement, any kind of security in a building, any kind of security system. And, HVAC and plumbing, obviously, we all know what it is. But the challenge that I had was after I finally, because you remember, through this 5-year period, right, I was trying different softwares, and I'm like, okay, there's the struggles that you have. And then I finally said, okay, I'm going to use this one. So when it came time to start the electronics company, I wasn't sure which one I was going to use, because there's a lot of software out there that will target a special industry, right? They will say, use this. Or plumbing, they'll send you emails and they will kind of bother you until you sign up for free. But I figured out a way so that my staff doesn't have to learn a new software, because it's the same stuff at the end of the day, right? So why do I want to have everybody learn 4 or 5 different softwares where we can work with just one and make it work?
Yeah.
And so every business now that I have uses JobTread, even though it's geared to completely different or offers different services, but within the same industry. And I'll be honest with you. At first, I was about to give up on JobTread. I'll tell you why. I signed up, and I said, "There's no app." I go, "How can I use this if there's no app?" So the day after, I told the account Dan, which is an amazing guy. He's always like there to help me. But I'm like, Dan, I'm sorry, I cannot use JobTread. He goes, but I want to know why. What happened? Like, what's wrong? I go, you don't have an app. He goes, no, we do. I said, no, you don't. There's nothing on the App Store. He goes, no, but it's even better. Like, you can just download it on the home screen and stuff. Because nowadays, right, you look for something, the first thing is you go to the App Store to download it. I go, no, hold on. What do you mean? Like, how can I? And they showed me, right? Like, if it wasn't for him, I would have just given up, because I thought there was no app. And for me, it's essential to have an app, do everything, like we're used to nowadays. So, and that was it. And then we decided, you know what? This is it. I can make it work for different services. We made it work. We have service contracts now that are implemented, or we have changed the way we do certain things, because the software allows you to do it. But again, you have to spend some time to understand it. Yeah. And then you can tweak it to the service that you want to offer. But that was it. I almost quit on that one.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, we very intentionally designed JobTread to work for any jobs-based business. So if you are running jobs, and in every job you're having to custom bid that job and figure out what's going to go into this job versus that job, like that was exactly we wanted to design it in a way that it was flexible enough to work for any type business, any type of job, so that again, you got some restoration jobs, you got your AV, low voltage security cameras, you got your mechanical and plumbing company, like it was an approach that I think was different than a lot of others out there, where they're just for one niche, just for plumbing, just for HVAC, just for home builders. And like, again, it's like the fundamentals of managing these businesses are really very, very similar. I mean, they're the same. The fundamentals of how to build and manage a construction business are what they are. It's how you run it. And so it's never made sense to me that you see all these kind of point solutions for these one small niches within this larger industry that are all just for that one thing. It's like, to me, I think that there's a much bigger opportunity to build something, because again, like if you're using subcontractors and you got many trades involved, I mean, they don't need to have different solutions for every different trade within the process. And so I think that was something that we luckily made the right choice in that regard. I mean, I think from a marketing standpoint, sure, it can be a little bit more of a challenge, because you do need to make sure that we can appeal to those specific, I mean, we got home builders and remodelers and pool builders and deck builders and plumbers and electricians and painters, and the list goes on. And so like you want it to feel like it's a tool that can be used for them, which it absolutely can be, but it does kind of require additional marketing efforts from our side to make sure that we can help articulate it. The App Store thing, that's really funny, because early on, I was a huge proponent of like, no, we got to have an app, and like me and my co-founder, my CTO, Casey, and I, we were just having this heated debate, and he was just like, no, man, trust me, this is the way. Like, we can use what's called a progressive web app, which essentially it's the browser. He said, I'm going to design the software where it will work regardless what size screen you have. And so it's just fully responsive. And so, if you're on a huge widescreen, computer monitor, great, you can see everything and more. If you're on a small, mobile phone or a tablet, or, it just sort of, shrinks to that size. He said, we're going to be able to give people the same exact functionality on every device. And the real advantage is that we're not going to have to, one, go through the app stores because, Apple, they take 30% of your revenue.
Oh, yeah, the price will go. Yeah.
It's like highway robbery, right? Like now we're going to have to increase our price. Okay, so that, that sucks. And two, every single, different app store, we have the back-end application, so that's in one language. And then, to be in the iPhone app store, that's another language. And to be in an Android app store, that's a third language. Like we would literally have to have 3 versions of our application. And then every time you add features to one, you got to add it to the others. And we did end up trying to do this at my last company, and it just became like such a nightmare. And ultimately what happens is people get frustrated because they can't do the same things on the desktop that you can do on the mobile app. And it's like, and we have people all the time come to us, they're like, oh my God, thank you for letting me just use the same thing. And ultimately that saved us so much time and money, because now all of my developers are focused on building the one app instead of having a team that's doing, the main app and then iOS and then Android, and then they're just playing catch up. And it's like, it literally triples your work.
Yeah, well, of course. And you're right, because after I decided to use it, I made my decision I'm going to use JobTread. Then I went to my technician at my other, company, security company, the electronics company, and I said, listen, just so you know, there's no app, but it's going to work. He goes, oh yeah, that's not a problem, because the company I used to work for before, and by the way, he was working for a huge printing company before. He was fixing these commercial printers. He goes, yeah, but we didn't have to use the app. I go, oh, because sometimes, you're just the way I don't know, it's the generation thing. I don't know, right? And you think app, but a lot of people know they can work just as fine or better, without it. So for everybody out there, don't be afraid. This is something new that I learned. And if it wasn't for JobTread, I would have thought no app doesn't work, right? But apparently it's not like that. So
it's pretty neat. And there have been additional kind of advances in technology, like how we're able to use the push notifications. Like it's not perfect. Sometimes they turn off, and so there's I think still sort of kinks being worked out and how all of that works. Within these what are called progressive web apps. Same, like we can get the geolocation, when you clock in, clock out. And so like there have been more and more advances that have come that are really enabling us to tap into the device's hardware, which it's again, those are some of the biggest benefits of having a native app that we no longer have to do. The biggest challenge is education. Just like you found,
right.
We got to show you how to hit save, add to home screen. But then it looks and feels just like any other app.
Just like,
And you don't have to update it ever. Like you're always using the latest up-to-date version of the code. So yeah, super, super neat. I hear you though, and it sounds like I need to go get with our marketing team. I know we probably need to get a page on our website, under features that's like, hey, here's the app, here's how it works. It's not like the standard download in the App Store. It's, you have to install it a little bit different way, but I'll definitely get on them, and we'll make sure we get something up there.
Yeah, it's just my honest feedback, because I guarantee you there's probably other company owners out there that the very next thing will be, okay, let me go to the App Store and see what it looks like. Like what's the interface like? And then they may find out it's not, and they may just turn away when apparently it works just as great. But again, that's something to consider.
So Ervin, I want to ask you this question. So it sounds like, and you said, you're using a lot of the same staff. So, sometimes I see people who want to take on additional, kind of lines of work, and they just incorporate them into the same business. So you've set up separate business entities. Is that right?
So all
tell us about that.
Correct. So these are all separate business entities. But the office stuff is the same. So the person that does the scheduling, it's the same for all 4. The person that does the bookkeeping, it's the same for all 4. So the people in the field are different. Like sometimes in some companies, we have to use a lot of vendors because of the nature of the work, right? So we may have one technician and then like 3 or 4 different vendors, because that's all we're doing with that company, or that's how many clients we have. But that's why it was initially very important for me to not have like 4 different apps, for 4 different companies, because they have 4 different services, right? So that was my concern. Like I said, I'm going to do so much time. Even for, like, I'm tech savvy, right? I love technology. I always, something new comes up, I update, I buy it, whatever. That's my thing. So I'm like, if it's going to be confusing for me, what about the person in the office?
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be 5 times, 10 times more confusing for them. And if it's going to, I'm the owner, I care about every little penny that I spend, every minute that I spend on any file. So what about an employee? I mean, do they have the same standard? I don't know, right? Some do, but not all don't. Not all do, right? So I want to make sure it's uniform, it's standardized, and then we found it. That's it. Like you've done a great job. Let's keep doing a great job. All the features that you add are very essential, and the vendor's feature, the bid request. You know how much time I was wasting before? Send an email. Hey, here's the price that I approved, and then print that, or save it somewhere, and then attach it to the, job as a backup. I mean, waste of time. Right now, send a bid request. It's tied into the budget. There's, it's tied to QuickBooks. Like everything is there. Right? So all these little features, to me, that they mean a lot. For somebody else, maybe they just need 4 or 5 or 2 or whatever, right? But every single one that I can get from me, it's a bonus. For the price, it's amazing. So
yeah. So and a lot of this, this is all commercial work, right?
All commercial work.
And so how have you seen? We hear all the time from larger commercial guys. They're looking at Procore, coming from Procore. They're having to manage a lot of RFIs. How much are you having to do in that regard?
We do projects that range anywhere. And when I talk about projects, I'm not talking about little things. I'm talking about $500,000, $1.3 million projects that we just completed. So it's very essential in this kind of projects to have the RFIs, to have the daily logs, to have as much documentation as possible, the budgets, because we're dealing with engineers. Yep. We're dealing not just with the client, but the third party that's going to oversee everything. They're going to make sure, the holdback amounts are correct, that the progress payments are correct. So instead of using, QuickBooks just for the accounting like some big companies do, and then a CRM to manage, why just have everything in one, right? So that was the way that this software, attracted me, because everything is there. Yeah, I can do a $800 job, right? A service call, but I can also do a $1.4 million job, right? It's because I spend the time to tweak it, to customize it, to create the templates that I need. And once you do that, that's it. You just keep using those over and over again, right? So it's so easy to customize. Like, it's so easy. You just need to understand at first, like how it works, and then just do your templates. Like, if it wasn't for the templates, I would be repeating my task and wasting a lot of time. Now, build a template, it's there, boom, a new job comes in, like my staff knows what to do, done. Like, you save minutes, hours, right?
And so are you also leveraging the templates on the scheduling side as well?
Oh yeah. I've created, so for example, I'll give you an example. When we receive an emergency assignment, like there's a flood, right? So there's certain steps we have to follow. Create a file, mitigation, day 1, do this, day 2, do that. I've created templates so that with one click, I get the job, the office gets the job, goes there, and then it's automatically assigned to certain people in the company to do certain tasks. But if you were to repeat it every single time, that's like 15 minutes for a job just to repeat the steps, right? When with just one click, you're done. And so on. Same for the big projects. You do one, you save the step, done. Just keep modifying little things, here, there. But
yeah, it's interesting how, again, I find that, you clearly have a very good understanding of, the need to have very efficient processes, to leverage technology, working smarter, not harder. It's to you, this is obviously coming as common sense. How would you recommend for others though, who all they know is that, they feel like it's just a constant grind. They're they're struggling to keep up. Like, it can be very chaotic to manage, numerous concurrent projects. And as you start to get into larger projects, I mean, you got a lot of money on the line here. Like this, you can't make big mistakes where they could sink you. So what advice would you give to the guys out there who feel like they're just struggling to keep up? Like how did you figure out that you could, implement systems and processes that could just streamline things?
I'll tell you this. When I was a property manager, and I did that for about 8 years, the foundation of property management is documentation. So one thing I learned is documentation for everything, not only for liability reasons, but because you want to show what you're doing, right? And that you are worth the money you're being paid as an employee. So for me, paper was everything. I had to write things down. There was a lot of reports being done, maintenance requests, and so on. So and I had to follow that process when I started my business because I did not know anything better. I'll tell you this: with JobTread, our office is paperless. There's no more paper. Now there's some paper because we have to print an invoice and save it as a backup, right? But there's no more paper. Paper is gone. Why? Because everybody has either access to the app or they're working with someone who has access to the app. And all I'm telling everybody else is, listen, have the paper if you want, okay? But if you use technology, you're saving so much time. In the Western world, we all know time is money. If I'm saving time, I'm saving money, right? If I can do 5 things within the same amount of time, complete 5 tasks, I'm making more money.
Yeah.
So invest in yourself. By investing in technology, you invest in your company. Spend maybe 5 days, 3 days, 2 days, a week, whatever it takes you. Some people are tech savvy, some people are not. Some people just need a longer amount of time to understand certain things, But start small. Start with the simple tasks. Start with, don't go right away into creating templates. Just start with the basic stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then every few weeks, try to make it mandatory. Hey, okay, so from now on, when you have team meetings like I did, okay, so forget about what we're doing. Now, from now on, we're going to use this other feature. So no more sending emails to vendors. So you kind of make it mandatory for your staff, right? After you feel that they are kind of understanding it, they're getting it, and you go, no more, send a bid request, right? How do I send a bid request? Okay, watch some videos, because you have a lot of, videos that are available, right? So make them spend 2 hours, right? You buy coffee, you buy lunch for your staff and say, just watch the videos.
Yeah.
And then you practice. They're going to make some mistakes. That's fine. Like, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Because a lot of people don't try something new because they think they're going to make a lot of mistakes and maybe it's not worth it. But if you don't make a mistake, how are you going to know if it's worth it or not? Right? So it's just part of the process. You're going to save money. You're going to save time. You're going to save money.
Did you guys have, so when you first got it, did you spend time diving in, and then did you bring the rest of the team in? Like, did you have kind of group training sessions or walk through the team like as a whole? Did you sit down with individuals one-on-one? Like, how did you get the adoption? Because I hear people ask all the time, well, how do we implement this? How do we get people to adopt it and use it?
So this is what happened. After we tried Get Job, Contractor Format, Odoo, which is an ERP system, Kickstarter, that was really quick. Like, that was, no, sorry. It was the other one, House Call Pro, for like a week. What else did I use? I was testing everything first, and then after I'm testing everything, I go, okay, I can make it work, so let me try. And I'll show my staff how to do it. And then 2 months after, a month after, 6 months after, with so I go, no, guys, we got to change again. So it came a point where they got tired.
Yeah.
So it came time to try the JobTread. I could sense they're like, oh, he's going to change it again. Like, and they told me after, Ervin, like, we knew you're going to change we thought you're going to change it again. So we kind of, we said yes, but you could see in their face, right? Because I'm the kind of guy, if I don't like something, I gotta keep going, try until I find something that really works. So I tried, then I said, you know what, you guys keep using what you're using, but I'm going to use JobTread until I'm sure that this works for us. So we're using 2 softwares at the same time for a while, right? Because I wasn't I liked it, but I wasn't sure. Everything, sometimes you like it, and then a few months after, you figure out it doesn't have this feature, it doesn't have that feature, you're starting all over again. So after I felt that, this is the one, then I told my staff, okay, we're gonna set like a deadline. Okay, so we're gonna fully implement it at this time, right? So, and then you're asking them, watch videos, that we're going to sit down. After they watch the videos, then you have like a little session where, you share your screen and you're like, okay, so this is how you do it. Questions. Or, this is what I want to do. What do you guys think? And then you kind of combine things from other experiences, softwares. You go, you know what, we can do it here. All we have to do is just build a template. Oh yeah, you can, yeah, okay. And then you kind of experiment, right? Yep. Until you figure it out. But you have to give them the opportunity to make mistakes. Like, don't be afraid. Yes, there's going to be mistakes, but monitor, right? You say, before you send the job out, let me see, let me make sure. After 1, 2, 3 times, then everybody will feel that, you got it, go ahead, right? Yeah. So there's some investment in your team, in yourself, in your, in the environment, in terms of time that you have to invest, right? But it pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you guys... I don't know if you've seen, we put out the certifications, to kind of give people and give teams, a way that they can go through. I think there's an admin certification, a estimating, project management, and a bookkeeping one. We originally, when we first put it out, we put it out with Google Forms, but the Google Forms couldn't tell you if you got the answers right or wrong, and so we just recently rolled out where we moved it like all right within the help desk. So now you can, as you go, if you got the answer right or wrong, and it won't let you move forward. But, we think that's another great way, for people who like to kind of, go through, you watch a little video, answer a question to make sure that you learned, from that video. I think it's a good way to kind of give people that sort of that tool. And then, you as the admin, you can kind of see, has everyone gone through the certifications? Where's everyone at? I think it's another good way to help.
You have different people at different levels in the company, so you can easily say, go to this link, do it, because that's your position, right? And that's what you need to know. And then they can progress later on, like once. And some people want to know more, some people, they just want to stay where they are. That's fine, as long as they do the job you've hired them for.
So how big is your team, and how's it structured?
So right now we have 7 people that are like employed, and then we have on-demand general laborers, and then we have a set of sub trades that we work with on a regular basis. So as far as Moderno is concerned, like I said to you, we had a catastrophe event last week. Like, part of the city is flooded, right? So what do we do in this case? I cannot handle it with my guys. So you get, you're working with agencies, and you're working with, a bunch of other, entities, and you need 20 people, right? So you get them. But the key is to make sure that whoever is on site is with someone that has JobTread, because I need to know what's happening. So that person has to document stuff, right? So they have to upload pictures. They have to record who's there. Like, what are the names of the people, right? So that information for me is crucial. So the office team, right, can coordinate with the field supervisor or the representative and say, okay, in this case, you're the one who has access, and you have 3 other guys with you. I need to know what's happening. Yeah. So now at this point, we are at the point where everybody knows what to do, and in terms of documentation, so we're okay, right? With the vendors, a lot of them are kind of, they call us because before you used to send them emails, they go, hey, I got this email from you. Like, you told me to go ahead. Like, are you sure? Because they see a formal, bid request form approved, whatnot, or just a request that, is being sent to them. And they just want to make sure that it's us, right? That how come now, all of a sudden, from emails, you look like you're, all like a big shot, right? And we have to use the right tools. That's it, but I feel the impact. I feel I'm more in control. Yeah. Of what's happening, and I know that I can hold a vendor responsible because I can say, hey, listen, I sent you, the approval 3 weeks ago. You opened it at this time. You saw, you marked it. What's happening? Don't give me excuses, right? Yeah. Whereas with email, juggle back and forth, find, and where is, what I mean? It's changed. It's changed everything.
So with your,
I'm more in control.
with your vendors, your trade partners, subcontractors, I mean, have you had to sit down with them to train them, or did they just sort of figure it out? You kind of walk them through it over the phone, or?
No. So apparently, the reason why some of them called us is because they wanted to make sure they was asked to send this email, right? But apparently it's easy. They open it, they see that there's an approval, they click OK, done. Like there's no, they get a copy of it, we get a copy of it, and it shows automatically on my active jobs. Like, it's easy. Like there's nothing, no explanation to be done from our end.
When I built the first version of this, I was running a GC, and primarily we did commercial work too. And it was, when I first took over this company, I mean, we were selling the jobs at a fixed price, but we were running the jobs, with subs that we paid time and material, so like they we thought they were going to charge us X, and then they come back 2 or 3 times that, and what I had to learn the hard way was that, we were misaligned. Like they were literally incentivized to drag every job out, and we were just getting hosed on everything because like we couldn't control our cost. And when we finally figured out, like, and we switched to this, sending out bid requests and using, fixed, guaranteed amounts, like, I mean, that made all the difference in the world. We could now know what our cost is, lock it in at our margin, and go sell the job. And then, look, you tell me it's going to take 5 days and you're going to charge me $5,000, great. And if it takes you 3, you get to move on. You're getting the same amount. If it takes you 5, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
If it takes you 7, 10, like that was like such a transformational point for us because, again, you can't think you're going to have a fixed cost, or a fixed price and variable costs, and you're going to somehow, consistently come out where you want to. And, I think a lot of people I hear they don't want to take the time to send out bid requests, or they don't want to take the time to use, POs and work orders. And it's like, the amount of effort that it takes for you to do job costing and to track your cost in real time it's nominal compared to the amount of money it can cost you to not do it. So
you have no idea how much time I was wasting, even on little jobs, to figure out what I actually made on those jobs. And now it's on the dashboard. Open the job dashboard. It's there. Like, you don't have to do it. There's no calculation required, right? But that's so crucial because you want to know whether you're hitting your margins or not, you're up or below, or what. You're like, is your job really worth it, right? At the end of the day. And I watched one of your YouTube videos where you talk about profit margin and markup. I will tell you, until then, I thought there was the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's when I go, no, it can't be right. It's got to be the same thing. Like, but you're right. And I was doing the math in my way, right? I go, oh no. Now I realize profit margin is different from markup. And I thank you for that. And I ran it through my friends. You won't believe this. I ran it through my friends. I said, hey, listen. And I gave them a really quick scenario. Everybody that I talked to, they were confusing markup, with margin, profit margin. And I go, why? Like, is this like, did we miss something at school? Like, or what's happened? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of that cost, sometimes, something happens, you didn't account for it, and then you realize your profit margin is not what you thought it was going to be when you budgeted the job, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for that as well. That was something that really, enlightened.
It took me a while to figure this out as well. I mean, when I took over that construction company, and again, like they were just like, Eric, we're struggling to hit our target profit margin. And I'm like, well, what's your profit margin? What are you trying to hit? They said 30%. I said, all right, well, let's dig in. Let's start looking at some of the numbers. And like, it took me forever. And I started shadowing the estimators and the guys writing up, all of the quotes, and then it just dawned on me, like when I saw how he's like, all right, well, I think my cost is this. And then he was just taking, he's multiplying, the cost times the, 1.3%. And I was like, wait, is that right? And like it took me a while, and even the owner of the business, like he was the only one that truly understood the difference between markup and margin, and he kept trying to train everyone, and he kept like explaining it, and everyone's like nodding their head thinking, yeah, but like nobody got it. I didn't get it. None of us got it. And then finally I was like, wait, I need to go check this guy's math. I remember the day I'm sitting there, we're sitting at the table together. I'm like, that price seems too low. And I started checking the math. I was like, wait, we're not going to make 30%. We're only going to make 23%. How is this? And then that's like what really like, oh, wait, Cody's been telling us like we need to be using margin. Like we shouldn't be multiplying. We need to be dividing by 1 minus what we want to make.
There you go. That's the mistake everybody makes. And all my friends, I made them write it down and then go back, right? And say, okay, take this out. And they realize they don't get to the same number. They cannot explain it.
Yeah.
But this, but thank you. That was really a mind-opening event. I go, wow, all these years, I thought it was supposed to be like this, and it's not.
It is. It's a hard concept to explain. I mean, it's funny because like we always ask, like almost all the people who come in and interview for a job here, we're like, all right, so do you know the difference between markup and margin? They're like, some of them are like, well, and it's like, all right, well, go ahead and explain it to us. If they venture to say yes, and and then like all of us around the table, we'll all chime in and try to explain it, and like you still get all sorts of different answers. I mean, it's, but it's a different way to calculate the price. And, one of them, just for everyone else out there, you may not, have yet figured this out. Like markup, you're just adding to your cost. You're marking it up. Like you're taking something and then you're multiplying it to add to it, versus margin. You're baking in the margin. You're baking in the profit that you want to make in the price. So that's why if you have $100 and you want to mark it up 30%, then you're going to have a $130 price. Now, if you want to make a 30% profit margin, you're going to take $100 divided by 1 minus that 0.3. So you'll, $100 divided by 0.7 is going to give you a $143 price. And that's going to give you the 30% profit included in the price. And again, it's just a formula, but it can make a tremendous impact on your bottom line. So however you can kind of wrap your head around it, and I'll admit it can take a little bit. Yeah. Go play with some numbers, pull out your calculator, do some math. But and there's on our blog, there's a great little chart. It makes less of a difference if you're at, 10% markup versus when you get to 30%, to 50%, to 100%. When you want to make, 100%, profit, or 50% profit, or when you start getting up there, the delta between the two is growing wider and wider. And so it takes you a minute to get your head around it, but I highly encourage
my price is changed, and my clients call. I'm telling you, clients called for day-to-day stuff, prices that they kind of services that they were familiar with. They go, "What happened?" I go, "I'm trying to make this kind of profit margin." They go, "What? What do you mean?" I said, "Sorry, some of them I had to explain why my price for the same service all of a sudden goes up so much." Because I could not figure out why in my mind I was making 45, 35, 25%, whatever, based on the job. And at the end of the 6-month period of the year, I go, how come I didn't make that much? After this whole thing, right? This video, I go, that's why. And so I had to adjust my pricing.
Yeah.
Right, to reach those targets that I had all, initially set for the different kind of services that we provide.
Did you lose any business over it? I mean, you said your customers called you about it.
We did lose. It was minimal, but I am not sad that I lost that kind of business, because I'm here. I'm running a business. I'm not running a charity. And that's what I tell my clients. Just as much as I want to work with you, I'm not running a charity. I'd love one day to just donate part of my business, and I do. And right now it's minimal, but we try to help the people that work in the company. So the charity is from within at this point. If somebody needs something, I gotta do something for that person, and then it can grow outside. It can be, taking care of your neighbors if you're not taking care of your family or people that are next to you. You have to start there first, and then you grow. That's my philosophy, right? So I lost. It was minimal, but I said, what's the point if I'm not gonna make, those profit margins? What's the point? Right? I'm running a business.
Yeah.
So it was okay. It was fine. But it was really, really crucial. It was I'm so thankful that I got to see that video, that it changed the way of thinking about this, the whole thing, this topic, right?
How do you, when, I don't know kind of what the competitive, landscape is down there, but like, when it comes to price, I know, again, when we were bidding on commercial jobs, sometimes like we had like a not to exceed, in some of these large companies. I mean, we did a lot of work for, Public Storage and Cabela Pro Shop, like, like they had kind of by trade a not to exceed unit price for every single thing. And like, that's how they like, would beat up all of us who were bidding on jobs. Like, have you seen where, it's become, are you getting that pressure on price, and, are you having to compete on price, or how do you handle that with your commercial clients?
Not really. The reason why is because of the nature of our clients. So because we work with property management companies that manage condominiums, and recently we're working with government, like Infrastructure Ontario. That's a government agency. So initially we give them the best price possible, because I don't want to go back and forth on the price.
Yeah.
Because if I go back and forth on the price, number one, I'm losing your time as a client, I'm losing my time. So why don't give you the best price that I can? It may not necessarily be the cheapest. We're not the cheapest. And sometimes I get a call and the manager will say, Ervin, but I got people that can do it for much less. I go, okay, but I don't know who you're comparing me with. If you're comparing me against a handyman, of course I'm going to be more expensive. I got a warehouse, I got trucks, I got people, I got payroll, I got, it's not a one-man show, and I cannot, that's not my competition. Like, you can go ahead, and out of 10 jobs, we maybe get 5, 4, 6, that we bid, right? And I don't want to get all 10, because if I get all 10, there's something wrong. There's got to be something wrong. I cannot get all 10, right? But I'm okay, because if I get those 5 or 6 or whatever I get, I'm happy. My profit margins are the ones that I said, and my team knows that they're not going to kill themselves. And I don't have to, deal with people that leave and train and leave and train. Well, what's the point, right? So you look at the overall picture. What do you want from your business, and how do you keep your clients, and how do you keep your employees happy?
Yeah.
You're not going to get every job from your client, but that's fine. Just make sure there's a relationship where they call you and you deliver. If you agree on $1, deliver the services for the $1.
Yeah.
And deliver 20 cents worth of service for $1. Like, that's my, don't do that. You're going to lose business. It's better not to take it than to take it, cut corners. What's the point?
Yeah. I can tell that you put a lot of focus on your team, taking care of your team, making sure that they're happy, and that, that they want to work with you. I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about, what are some of the things that you've done to, create a culture where, you've got a team that wants to come into work, and that will help you build this, build these companies for you?
So initially, when you hire somebody, you look for people that have a desire to grow. Not everybody is going to grow. Not everybody is going to come in as a bookkeeper and move up to, be a project manager. Like, my bookkeeper, she's a project manager now. She's making way more than what she initially thought she could do, because she discovered, what, Ervin is giving me an extra task, but he's paying me more. I have the opportunity to learn one more software, but I'm getting paid more. The guys in the field are like, okay, if I work for this company, I get a free vet, I get free fuel, I get this, they're treating me nice, they're offering me trainings. Why not? They're not bothering me. They're always on, if somebody does something stupid, there's always that, hey, let's have a discussion. What happened? Well, because there's a lot of ways to look at something, but if you look at it with the intention to figure out what happened, figure out what the cause of the problem is, a lot of times it's not what initially it appears to be. So, and you're blaming your staff. If you're not really looking at the cause of the problem, you're blaming your staff when you don't even have the right facts, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be really slow to blame, really slow. And maybe the blame is not the right word, but really slow to be harsh on somebody. Because, and by being harsh, I'm not saying being impolite, but you have to be firm, right, in your expectations. Train them, be nice, show something by example. Like, don't say do it, and then like the words you use, I keep using the word, hey, you're the best, you're the best. The best is kind of a absolute word, like who's the best. But the thing is, in what they do, you gotta make people, when they're having art, they say, hey, you're the best. It cheers the person up, right? You know what? That word in that moment, it's like everything. They don't need to raise them. They don't want a boast. They want just a word. Hey, you know what? Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes things will go wrong, but somebody thinks I'm good. I can do this.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to always find the ways to encourage. For me, that's key. Encourage, promote, and if somebody doesn't want to, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people just want to do the same thing over and over. Fine, just give them that. But you have to figure out who wants the same routine, who doesn't, who wants to grow, who wants to just keep it simple.
Yeah.
So it's it's an ongoing game. It's an ongoing discussion. It's an ongoing thing. What do you want from Moderno? What find out. Just ask.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I mean, you've already in short 5 years have had quite a bit of success, creating these companies here, and obviously it's everything looks like it's on the up and up for you. I mean, what's the bigger vision? I mean, where do you want to take the companies, and where do you see the next 5-10 years? Like where do you want to end up?
We want to see ourselves growing. I want to see the staff that I have with me grow. I want to see more clients coming in. I want to see the other companies that are slowly growing to grow even more. And I want it to be at a point where the company can run by itself without me. Because if I get to that point, I built something. Or this multiple company, I built something. It's like a little baby. Like this company is a baby. I have a son. He's going to be 5 years old. And one day, because I drop him off and so on. And this is the best time that I have with my son. Sometimes I think, oh no, I have to drop him. I ask my wife, can you drop him off, right? And then sometimes I think, no, that's the best time that I can have because we're talking to each other. He's 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, one day you're going to inherit this, right? And then the next day he's like, Daddy, am I gonna take over Moderno when you die? I go, no, you're gonna take over when I'm alive because I want to see you. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy it. But I said, how do I make it happen, right? Because a company is like a baby. You have to give it the skills. You have to teach. The people have to know how to run without you. Because if you're there all the time, if everybody's calling you, you haven't built anything.
Yeah.
You just, I don't know. You haven't built anything. So the goal is to use all the tools available, like all the features available out there, not only in the software world, but in any kind of aspect of running the company, right? What's the best out? How can I use AI? How can JobTread and AI merge? I don't know. What else can you do for me, right? So that I can pay more, no problem. But I need to know how I can sit back, enjoy my life, check everything, and then if I want to just turn off the phone, the company runs.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's my goal. That's my goal in the next 5 years.
That's
Make
awesome.
it run with my phone off.
I love that. And so I've got a 6-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son, so I can very much relate to what you're saying. And it's always fun. When I first started using to ask my kids, so do you want to come in and you want to be the boss? And my son was like, no, I don't want to be the boss. I want to work there, but I don't want to be the boss. And now, like, as he's kind of seen, more and more, and I bring him to more, team events, he's like, yeah, no, I'm going to be the boss one day. I'm like, all right, awesome. Can I stay and work there too? One day you're going to be my boss. And it's
let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, no, it's I think at the end of the day, though, just like with you, I mean, that's the holy grail here for entrepreneurs and for business owners to be able to have a company that is fully sustaining on its own, able to continue growing, and when things come up, like, they can deal with it. Like, you don't have to come in and be the problem solver, the firefighter, the only one who can deal with the tough situations. Like, as business owners, like, you want to be able to have that time where you can step away and go on vacation, spend time with your family. Like, I think that's when you truly know that you've built a great team, and the people that you put in place that you truly can trust to deal with those situations. Like, That's I think that's when you really have this turning point, going from, being the entrepreneur, wearing all the hats, to being a true business and a true leader with a team of people. I think that's what everyone should really be striving for. And again, it's a journey, and for all of us, it can take a lot of different turns and twists and ups and downs. But like when you really focus on it, and you focus on building the right team with the right culture, and you have a inspiring vision and mission and a why, that's what I think just is some of that kind of that secret sauce that creates very successful and very scalable businesses. And Ervin, you're leading the charge, leading by example, showing people how to do it. So, I appreciate you for doing that.
Our slogan is very simple. It says, "Let's do it right." And so I'm always on the lookout. What do I need to do this right? What do I need for my team to do this right? And when you have transparency across the board, people know that, hey, we can see what's happening. We can see that there's jobs coming in. Here's the jobs. Here's and some people can see profit more. Like all the dashboards and stuff. Not everybody in the company, depending on how you set it up. But the thing is, if you want to do it, let's do it right. What do I need? I need the tools. Sure. Give me every feature that you add to JobTread and your team are helping me to get it done right, to do it right. For me, for my team, for my client, who can see right away what's happening because he has access to the portal and see the pictures. I got business. I lost business, I told you, from some clients because I increased the price. But other clients called me and said, "Ervin, thank you for sending the pictures right away after the flood, because we showed the pictures to the board and the board is amazed because no other contractor did this before. They're sending an estimate with pictures 5 days after.
Yeah.
But they want to know, okay, how many units are there? What's happening? So your tools are helping me to do it right.
Awesome.
That's all I need.
Love hearing that. I want to kind of wrap up here, and one final question I've got for you is, when you think back about when you first started Moderno, is there anything that now that you wish you would have known, and just any general advice that you would give for others who are trying to build a company like yours, who are trying to reach that same level of success? What advice do you have for them that you wish someone would have told you earlier on that might save them, a couple hard knocks and a couple tough learning stumbles along the way?
If I were to look back, I would have never known it was so hard to build a company. And just yesterday I was having the same discussion, and now you brought this up, and somebody in my family is like, after I hear you talk about this, I'm never opening a company. But that's not the point. The point is, if you have something in your mind, there's going to be more obstacles than there's going to be opportunities. But the different, I always in the lunchroom there, I always write wise sayings from time to time. And the one that I always write is this: the only way to predict your destiny is to create it.
I literally have that as a plaque on my desk. No kidding.
It's one of those things. Every time, I go, okay, what do I want to What do you want to do? Every time I meet somebody, it's like, what do you want to do? Because you hear people I don't want to do this job. I don't want to do that. What do you want to do? And they talk about the desire they have about something. And you say, okay, so why don't you take the first step? Because the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step.
Yep.
Right? Do it. There's going to be more obstacles than there's going to be, things in your favor. But unless you try, this is how your future is going to look like. This is what you envision. Create it. Maybe you're not going to end up doing it exactly like you, but you're going to end up somewhere close, or maybe somewhere else where you never thought you'd be there, but maybe you love it now, right? So don't give up one more day. And if you start something, just say one more day. When things are not going right, one more day. Just wait until tomorrow. Who knows what happens between now and tomorrow? It's good.
And that's awesome. Great advice. I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story.
Pleasure.
Just so many so many gold nuggets that, you know, I really hope people, you know, can take these lessons that you've shared, you know, figure out how to implement them, because this is what you need to do to build a successful business. And I'm grateful that you've taken the time. I know you got a busy day and you've had a busy, you know, couple weeks here, but thank you, Ervin, for coming on and for being such a good role model out there in the industry, for helping others to build successful businesses too. You know, it means a lot to me, to my team. You know, we appreciate you, and I can't wait to see where you continue growing your businesses. And, you know, wish you all the best and a lot more success for you.
Thank you as well, Eric. You've done a great job. You've built something that is so useful. It's beautiful. You have a great team behind you. They're always on the ball. They're always, you know, responding to emails. And at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. It's just support. You help me to do things right. Thank you, you know, for what you're building, because you're helping me to achieve my dream. So thank you as well.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Builder Stories. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained valuable insights that can help you in your journey along the way. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave us a review. And as always, if you or someone you know has a story to share, please contact us at builderstories.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Eric Fortenberry, and remember, every builder has a unique story. Keep building yours.